Welcome to the Scripture Legends, a place where timeless Bible stories come to life. Here we dive into the most amazing and inspiring tales from the Scriptures, exploring the journeys of faith, love, and redemption that have shaped countless lives. Over 3,000 years ago, Egypt was a land of great power and wealth. But for the Israelites, life in Egypt was one of hardship and oppression. Forced into slavery, they toiled under the harsh rule of Pharaoh, yearning for freedom. In this dark time, a baby named Moses was born, God's chosen instrument to lead his people to freedom. Moses' story begins with an act of love and bravery. Born at a time when Pharaoh had decreed that all Hebrew baby boys be killed, Moses' mother placed him in a basket and set him adrift on the Nile. Pharaoh's daughter found him and raised him as her own, giving Moses the unique experience of growing up in the palace yet knowing his Hebrew roots. Despite his privileged upbringing, Moses couldn't ignore the suffering of his people. One day he acted out of anger and killed an Egyptian who was beating a Hebrew slave. Fearing for his life, Moses fled to the wilderness, where he started a new life as a shepherd. Years later, while tending sheep, Moses encountered something extraordinary, a bush that burned but wasn't consumed. From the flames, God called Moses by name and gave him a mission to return to Egypt and lead the Israelites to freedom. At first, Moses was reluctant. He doubted his ability to confront Pharaoh and questioned why God would choose him. But God reassured Moses, promising, "I will be with you." With faith and a staff in hand, Moses set out for Egypt. Back in Egypt, Moses and his brother Aaron confronted Pharaoh with a simple yet profound message from God. "Let my people go." But Pharaoh's heart was hardened. He refused, dismissing their God as powerless. God responded with 10 plagues, each more devastating than the last. From turning the Nile to blood to sending hail and locusts, these plagues demonstrated God's power over Egypt's gods. The final plague, the death of the firstborn, broke Pharaoh's resistance. Grieving his loss, Pharaoh finally allowed the Israelites to leave. The Israelites left Egypt, but their freedom was short-lived. Pharaoh changed his mind and sent his army after them. Trapped between the Red Sea and Pharaoh's chariots, the Israelites panicked. Trusting in God, Moses raised his staff, and the waters of the Red Sea parted. The Israelites crossed on dry ground, and when Pharaoh's army followed, the waters closed over them, ensuring the Israelites' escape. Now free, the Israelites faced a new challenge: how to live as God's chosen people. At Mount Sinai, God called Moses to the top of the mountain and gave him the 10 Commandments, guidelines for a holy and just life. These commandments weren't just rules. They were a covenant, a promise between God and his people. They taught the Israelites to honor God, respect others, and live righteously. The 10 Commandments became the foundation of their identity and faith. Despite witnessing God's power, the Israelites struggled with doubt and disobedience. While Moses was on the mountain, they built a golden calf to worship. Moses, heartbroken, reminded them of their covenant with God and led them back to faith. Moses led the Israelites for 40 years, guiding them through the wilderness toward the promised land. Though he never entered it himself, his leadership and faith left an enduring legacy. The 10 Commandments remain a cornerstone of morality and justice, influencing cultures and societies to this day. The story of Moses and the 10 Commandments is a testament to the power of faith, perseverance, and obedience. It reminds us that even in the face of great challenges, God's guidance can lead us to freedom and purpose.